First off, what even is socialism? In its most extreme form, this term means an economic system where the means of production are controlled by the people. But what does that even mean? Socialists claim that means that instead of billionaires extorting us for their products, everyone would work together to create things and distribute them as equally as possible. This is achieved by the people of the country violently taking hold of factories, machines, and whatever else people make stuff with. At first glance, this seems awesome, right? If we were all truly created equal, then we must all deserve the same amount of money. It's natural to be attracted to ideas like this at first, but the only reason socialism seems palatable to some people is because they have an oversimplified view of the world. As Ayn Rand famously said, when you clamor for public ownership of the means of production, you are clamoring for public ownership of the mind. The wrong turn socialists make is they take a mercantilist view of the world, which, if we quickly simplify a really complicated topic, means that you believe there's a finite amount of wealth in the world. After all, if there's only so much stuff, then it makes sense to divide it up evenly. But how mercantilism, however, was disproven long before socialism even made a name for itself by this dude, Adam Smith, the father of economics, also a super cool dude. He proved that free markets can actually create more wealth than existed before. To make a long story short, socialists completely ignore how things are created and forget that no matter how much control you have over the means of production, you still need those people who are skilled and smart enough to create things. Does this quote make a little more sense now? If these prime movers, as Rand called them, are not entitled to the fruits of their labor, if they are not compensated fairly for what they produce, they will have no incentive to produce at all. Essentially, zero is still zero, even if you divide it evenly among everyone. So that's the basics of it, but there is a classic socialist counterargument that I'd like to get into. Many people who identify as socialists also tack on the word democratic at the front to seem less intimidating. These people, AOC, Mamdani, Bernie, claim that if a nation vote for socialism, it's perfectly reasonable because this wasn't achieved through a violent rebellion. However, it's still force. A ballot box may seem less violent than an AK, but our laws are still enacted through force, whether you like it or not. If we didn't have a police and court system to forcibly make people obey the laws, they wouldn't be very good laws at all. However, if these laws mandate that more income than necessary be turned over to the government for redistribution, then this is no better than a violent socialist revolution, because it is still the forcible taking of private property, just more socially acceptable because no bullets were used. The great thing about our Constitution is not the concept of majority rule, but the idea of minority protections. No matter what Congress says, they cannot do certain things that go against the Bill of Rights, unless they have a two-thirds consensus, obviously. They cannot censor free speech, force soldiers into your house without a warrant, etc. We need to have more minority protections on our wealth in our system, not a majority that can dictate what happens to your priority. A 51% majority at the ballot box is no different than a 1% majority armed in the street. They are still both a group of people trying to steal from you using force. And that's socialism explained simply. A system built on a disproven foundation enacted on immoral principles with terrible consequences for us all.